Hey, we are going to talk about a lot of stuff for this lesson. One song, but it's quite a doozy, and I typed it up because I thought that that was going to be easier, and it is 3 pages typed up, 3 pages long. It does have a lot of repeated stuff, so it's not like something crazy like that. And my wife got this like weird bouncy ball seat thing. Yeah, you know, you gotta see this. It's like a bouncy ball seat thing. But anyway, it's supposed to be like better for you or something, and so I'm sitting in it because I'm down in her office, of course. The lighting is better and everything, and it's quieter without the kids upstairs and all that, but it's like a weird seat. I keep feeling like I'm kind of like wobbly, but I think that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to help like strengthen your core or something. I don't know. But anyway, so the song that we're going to work on, I was actually watching SpongeBob with my kids, although I have been known to watch SpongeBob without my kids. I think it's hysterical. I like the show. I think it's really funny. But anyway, and of course, it's a lot of the music is kind of Hawaiian-ish. Some of it is actually of like Hawaiian origins. Some of it's just made up for the show and just sort of sounds Hawaiian-ish. At any rate, for the end of the show, there was this song over the ending credits, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, that's a song, which of course it is. It's a song, and it has ukulele in it, and I was like thinking, that's a pretty neat tune. I think we could do that. So I did a little bit of research and found out that it is called the 12th Street Rag, and it's actually a song. It's not like a SpongeBob thing, like the SpongeBob theme was made for SpongeBob, of course. So it's an actual song outside of, you know, the SpongeBob show. Excuse me. So it's fairly long and fairly complex, and it does have ukulele in it, although it's not completely like separate just ukulele. So there's a lot of other stuff on it. This chair is weird. So I sort of did like my own little arrangement of it. And it took forever to figure out and all of that, type it up and everything. Because there's a lot of stuff going on with the song with other instrumentation and stuff. So I wanted to come up with something that would work for ukulele. So anyway, let's dive into it. So we have the intro is really simple, and it's just, of course, all typed out. And then again, so it's just 3 on the E string. 3, 2, 3, 5, 3. Then with a G7 chord. So the 3rd fret, then the A string, 0, 1, 2, and then the G7 chord. So the intro is just and then it goes into the song. So one thing that we are going to talk about excuse me, with this song is the first thing we're going to talk about, there's a few things actually, a few interesting things, which I didn't realize when I picked the song, but a lot of interesting stuff. We're going to do a little bit of a flamenco style strumming. So flamenco is a type of music that's kind of like Latin American, and it's usually kind of focused around, centered around a nylon string classical guitar. But techniques on like a nylon string classical guitar certainly applies to other guitars, to other stringed instruments, stuff like that. So ukulele, certainly we can use a lot of these techniques. And one of the techniques is the strumming, the flamenco style strumming. So what it is there's a few different ways that they do strumming. One is just with your thumb, and it's, you know, so I'm just doing a C chord just so we have something. So down with the soft part of your thumb, and then up with the nail of your thumb. So you really get that different sound, the soft part of your thumb, and then the nail of your thumb. So you can really hear that dun, 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 the two different sounds. Then another thing that you can do, another flamenco style strumming, is with your fingers. And you're pretty much doing the same thing. You start with your hand, with your fingers. Yeah, there you can see that way. Yeah, there you can see. Okay, not a fist, but just sort of curled a bit. You know, like maybe you're like holding a rake or something, I don't know, pole. Okay, and then you kind of flick with your fingers, and that's the fingernail part. And then you pull your fingers back into the half-closed position, and that's with the soft part of your fingers. So okay, then I like to combine the two. So I'm doing the down with the nails of my fingers and up with the nail of my thumb. Okay, that helps the down strums and the up strums to have a similar tone to them, a similar sound. So instead of like the softer with the fleshy part of your finger or thumb, and then the harder part with your nails, you get nails on both ends. Okay, so you practice that for a little bit. Okay, so that's the next part. That's the strumming that I would strongly recommend, unless you wanted to play it with a pick. Excuse me. Okay, so the next part, for the first 3 lines of the first verse, all we really have is a C chord, which by now you should know, and a G7 sus4. Okay, so what that is on the G0. I'm sorry. Is that? Yeah, on the G0, on the C string, the 2nd fret, on the E string, the 1st fret, on the A string, the 3rd fret. Okay, and that's a G7 sus4 chord. Okay, although technically we're really kind of doing more with both of those chords. It's kind of what we're doing with the G7 thing. So G7 sus4 is that, then a G7 with replacing the pinky in the 3rd fret with your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret, and then lifting up, and you get the open string there. Then with the C, it's the same thing, meaning the 3rd fret on the A string, 2nd fret on the A string, open A string. Okay, so that's the first little bit where it's a C chord. Okay, so what's happening here rhythmically is kind of interesting. I know that we had talked about triplets, but this, it seems like triplets because what I'm playing is, and then, and then, and then. Okay, so it seems like if I just isolate that one note that's changing, because the other ones are just open strings. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It certainly sounds like triplets, but it's not. What ends up happening is I'm playing, or the song is going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's that little pause right there. So what we're actually playing is 16th notes. So it's very simply, if we count 1 E and A, it's 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 1, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. I think I counted that right. 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. And that's that last chord hangs for that extra little portion of a beat, for the extra 16th note. So it seems like triplets, but it's not. So it's 1. So if we do the triplet sort of thing, you'll see, okay, go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, that's right. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's the held. So that ends up to be 16. 5, 10, 15, 16. So there's 16th notes, and if you look at it where it's typed out, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then a little space where the last is held that extra 16th note. So there's 16th notes, but they certainly sound like triplets. So I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know if it's called anything. So I checked with a couple of musician friends of mine that are pretty knowledgeable. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable, but they all have degrees in music, the whole thing, and they kind of reinforced that there's no real name for it. It's just a thing. So it's sort of like the way I looked at it, and they liked the two people that I kind of conferred with on this. They liked my sort of explanation summary of it. Okay, it's like 3/4, so it's 3 beats over what would be a 4 pattern. Okay, because 16th notes are 4 beats, 4 notes, 4 subdivisions per beat. So 4 times 4 is 16. So it's clearly based on some sort of 4. But we're really playing we're really playing like a triplet thing. So it's like a pattern of 3, a rhythm of 3, kind of squashed over 4, sort of made to fit 4. And then there's that little extra 16th note at the end that's held that sort of helps to correct, because 3 and 4 don't go together. So we have the 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then 1 2 3 4, and that helps get us back to 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1, so that we keep coming back on the 1 of the next measure or next chord or whatever, next chord change. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. It's a long, involved way of saying it goes like this. So there we are. Okay, then it goes to the G7 sus4 thing. With a little da-na-na at the end instead of the full da-da-da-da-da-da thing. So I'll play the first measure. So. Okay, then the next part, did I say I'll play the full measure? I'll play the full part, that little first line. Then the next line starts on the G7 thing. And then goes to the C. So it just sort of flips the 2. But still rhythmically it has that da-na-na strum thing at the end of each one. The button is clicking against the ukulele. Okay, then the next part starts on C again. Then the G7 sus4 thing. Then D, and that's just 1 2 3 4, and then 1 2 3 4, and then again. Okay, so the whole first verse, and I'm going to call it, because there's 3 verses, there's the intro, 3 verses, and then a bridge, or like a sort of halftime section, I think I call it. But the 3 verses are all very similar, but they each have different endings. So this is verse with ending 1. So. So there we are. And then we move on to verse with ending 2.